All right. First and foremost, want to give all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh. Bashim Yahushua, Bashim Kakwadash. Second, we give the honor to the Apostle GMS of Well. Peace, blessings, salutations to the faithful elect. That consists of you so-called Negroes, Latinos, Hispanics, Native Americans. And it's not going to be long at all. This is Revelation 17. I'm going to pretty much focus on the famous prostitute, how America delights herself as a righteous, precious, beautiful whore prostitute, but really inside this place is wicked and all and demonic as hell, and it blasphemes everything that's holy, even the Israelites, the true biblical Hebrew Israelites. Now, let me see what I'm gonna start off with. So Revelation 17. Bear with 1 moment. This is in the GNT, Revelation 17, the famous prostitute. Then one of the seven angels who had, again, this is John, Revelator, who was by the angels shown all the Edomite empire started from the Greeks on to this day. And it says, who has had the seven, it says right here, bowls but vials came to me and said, come and I will show you how the famous prostitute is to be punished. That great city that is built near many rivers, the kings of the earth practiced sexual immorality with her, and the people of the world became drunk from drinking the wine of her immorality. So this is a bunch of philosophies and doctrines. Hold on real quick. I'm going to jump down. Hold on, Salaki. We'll jump down to 4. The woman was dressed in purple and scarlet and covered with gold ornaments, precious stones, and pearls. In her hand she held a gold cup full of obscene and filthy things, the result of her immorality. On her forehead was written a name that has a secret meaning, Great Babylon, the mother of all prostitutes and perverts in the world. And I saw that the woman was drunk with the blood of the Most High, Yahweh's people, and the blood of those who were killed because they had been loyal to Yahushua. So that's ultimately, from the Greek Empire and all the way to this very day. So the Lord, had the angels pretty much give him a visionary of what's to come. And here, us being in it today, America presents itself as a place full of milk and honey opportunity, as if it's for your own purpose. But, I asked ChatGPT, how do prostitutes deceive? And I'm going to bounce around as well. So it says, financial motivation and desperation. He said misrepresenting services. It says promising one thing and delivering another. And that's America to this full T. America acts as if it's going to give you aid and, promise to build with you and you're going to succeed at the end. But all in all, you stay in debt and then eventually you become destroyed. Agreeing to certain acts and later refusing, right? Raising prices mid-service, asking for more money, and after starting the services. Theft or scams, in some cases working with others to rob clients. And we ultimately know Amalek is the main culprit, the least of the flock. What you're seeing is due to the pretty much the fact that America has seized control and has that power and been the might, all through the left hand side. Amalek has been able to pretty much, bark orders and take over, control, rape, rob, murder, and pillage, and take peace from the earth. Now, one thing for certain, I'm going to read this because it's something that we must have. Ephesians 6 and not 10. Finally, my brethren, be strong in the Lord and in the power of his might. Put on the whole armor of Yahweh Bashem Rashad, that you may be able to stand against the wiles of the devil. One thing that whores have, wow. So let's look up. I'm going to bounce around in Chat GPT. What are some wiles a process? I'm going to put it this way. What is some would have? Let me see what comes up. So, what are some wiles a prostitute will have? If you're asking about wiles a prostitute will have, you're likely referring to techniques or behavior someone is in that profession might use to attract or influence clients. These may include psychological, social, or physical strategies, some of which overlap with general techniques of persuasion or seduction used in many professions or social interaction. We understand everything in America is psychological, because one thing for certain, Esau, matter of fact, um, the word wiles generally refers to clever tricks, strategies, or manipulations often used to influence or control others, especially in the context of persuasion, seduction, or deceit. Isaiah 47. I forgot what I was ready to say. Um, One thing for certain, this is what Esau does. We know here in America is a very psychological warfare on the mind. There you go. Yep. We understand that in second, what is it, Thessalonians, I believe the second chapter, the fourth chapter tells you how he sets himself as the most high power and in everything that's holy. And one thing Esau has done through his pseudoscience and his witchcraft and sorcery and his science, he has pretty much knocked down the position of Yahweh Shem Rashah on the stance of people's minds. It's not in all reality, because we all know Yahweh Shem Rashah, ruler for all things, and he's he's in control of all things. But pretty much the mindset of these people is not toward any reality or common sense or no knowledge of the real power of Yahweh Shem Rashah. And this is why ultimately, when it says it has the blood of the saint, this is why ultimately we are the problem. The prophets, the men that's on the highways and the byways, that's out there prophesying against his whore. I'm gonna continue on. Salaki. What is this? I'm gonna read some more. And one thing for certain, what is this? First Esdras 4:21. The account that Zerubbabel had talked about women. Now that's about women. Now we're talking about whores here, right? The most worst of the worst of a whore. It tells you in the scriptures, the price of a whore, a man is brought to a piece of bread. And it tells you in the scriptures that many men have lost their wits because of a woman. How much more these whores? And when you look at these whores, especially here in America, there is very much deception. These whores are envious of men, so it's a double whammy. And one thing about this empire, Esau applauds and rewards this psychological, defective, destructible actions of these whores. So again, verse 11: Put on the whole armor of Yahweh Shah, that you may be able to stand against the wiles of the devil. For we wrestle not against flesh and blood, but against principalities, against powers, against the rulers of the darkness of this world, against spiritual wickedness in high places. Because you understand, on the left hand side, this was already prophesied that this empire was going to come into establishment, and Esau and Amalek was going to be ruling. The elites of Edom and Amalek of Edom, they were going to be ruling and rule in very great deceit. This psychological warfare on the mind that you see is going on even to this day with Your boy Charlie that got clipped. 13. Wherefore take you into the whole armor of Yahweh Shem Shah, that you may withstand in the evil day, and having done all to stand. Stand therefore, having your loins girded about with truth. And it's a lot, and it's crazy. If you're still being reckless out here with women and whores, it pretty much shows you're not really obtaining any truth. And Lord's will, the Lord put a spirit on us that we prevail against these whores and these women in this society alone. And having on the breastplate of righteousness, and your feet shod with the preparation of the gospel of peace. Above all, taking the shield of faith, wherewith ye shall be able to quench all the fiery darts of the wicked, and take the helmet of salvation and the sword of the Spirit, which is the word of Yahweh Shem Shah. One thing for certain, if you have women problem, this world is going to be much more of a problem to you. 18, praying always with the prayer and supplication in the Spirit, and watching thereunto with all perseverance and supplication for all saints. Now, wiles of a prostitute, going back, it says, here are some examples of what might be considered wiles: seductive communication, flattery, complimenting or making the client feel desirable, important, or unique. And this is all what America does in certain, circumstances and situations. One thing I know for certain, what Esau does is they put the most weakest, feminine, folly, dumbest nigga men on the top position, and pretty much they put simps in control and put simps in positions where they ought not to be. Because one thing for certain, whores love simps. Whores love men that they can rule over and destroy. And one thing for certain, what Esau does in this society, he extols the most worst of men. Suggestive language. Let me see what it says. Using double entendres or sultry tone to create sexual tension. Mirroring, mimicking body language, tone, or interest to build a rapport. And that's sexual communication, seductive communication. We all understand how Esau uses his media, witchcraft, sorcery to flatter, deter, to take focus off what's really going on. To appearance and presentation, strategic dress. One thing for certain, Esau wants to paint the picture, paint America. That's like I said. Let me go back to Revelation 17. It says, the woman was dressed in purple and scarlet and covered with gold ornaments, precious stones, and pearls. So going back to chat, it says appearance and presentation. Strategic dress, wearing clothing that highlights certain physical traits to draw attention. And that's what America does. They try to pretty much, Esau, the so-called white man, pretty much he tries to cover up his track record, through the Hollywood, the Soul Train era, the media, music, rock and roll, etc. You get what I'm saying? And pretty much trying to use all the victory, the so-called victories of the so-called white man, and painting the picture as if he was the hero. So you can pretty much take the narrate off the fact that the so-called white man took peace from the earth. Body language. Using eye contact, posture, and touch to suggest intimacy or openness. Scent and voice, using perfume, soft tones, or a soothing voice to stimulate or calm. Esau, the so-called white man, has a very good way of doing these things, but ultimately the presentation and the appearance of America, acting as if as America comes in as aid and help. And I don't know if a lot of people remember I think it was Colin Powell or George Bush. They had a term that they would go in, cause a problem, react to it, and then get control of that land where they cause the ruckus. So it's an emotional manipulation playing on insecurities, right? Making the client feel special or wanted, especially if they feel neglected or insecure. And one thing for certain, this is what Esau does, and this is why they again they promote the worst of the people. They promote, um, this is why they, like the scripture talks about, they speak as a lamb with two horns. They play on the minds of the people, having, the republic, the democratic, the right wing, and the left wing. You see, they play on the minds of the people. So again, but all in all, they get the worst of the people, and they promote them. This is why they push for moles, and they promote um, for the most weakest people to pretty much be on top. Because once again, going on playing on security, this is what prostitutes and whores do, making the client feel special or wanted. When if you're sure and you're confident in yourself, you're not with the flattery. But when you're weak and mentally ill, and mentally weak and effeminate, you know, the whole everything, your whole meaning in one is to feel that dopamine and feel wanted. Feigned entrance, pretended to care deeply about the client's thoughts or feelings. In America, this is what is America constantly, especially these Edomites. This is what they constantly acted as if they care, but they don't as a whole. Hey, Christianity, right? The whole entrance of Christianity, you would think the so-called white man is the most beautifulest, purest man on earth, but when you really look at his track record, and it was all in the name of love, peace, and basically trying to come up with an agreement. And now you blink again, is fire and chaos. And your woman is messed up, your children are messed up, and you are borderline ready to get burnt by the fire. Because this is how Esau rules. This is how he is. This is how the so-called white man is. And that's ultimately how America is. They act as if they care for the state of the people, but really they're coming in to do even more damage. Jealousy triggers. Let me see. Making subtle preferences to other clients to create competition. Um, Street business savvy. Negotiation tactics, controlling the terms, price, and boundaries of the interaction. Upselling, offering additional service or extras to increase earnings. Discretion. Let me see. Discretion in reading clients, knowing when to push back off or adapt to someone's mood or expectation. And like the scripture says, Esau is a cunning hunter. Five performance skills, role play or fantasy fulfillment, adopting different personas to cater to special desires, feigning pleasure or emotional engagement, appearing emotional or physically invested to satisfy client client expectation. And then I'm also going to go back here because it says, let me see. It says, where it go? It says, all right, verse 2, the kings of the earth practiced sexual immorality with her, and the people of the world became drunk from drinking the wine of her immorality. So ultimately, these other nations got tricked. Laid with the whore. Took leagues, setting up business deals. You know, took backdoor deals. The rulers of these other countries. All in the name of thinking and probably truly believing that America was going to be, how you say, was for their own good. But a lot of these other nations know too. Esau, how Esau does. But all in all, Esau has the power to, if you don't agree or cooperate. That's what I'm saying. This whore is dangerous because she has the power to kill. And the power to cause war, cause ruckus. And even when you look at these modern day whores in Babylon the Great, they can destroy you with a terribly. Let me get that real quick, and I pretty much can wrap it up. I don't want to be too long. Um, to Proverbs 6:26. For by means of a whorish woman, a man is brought to a piece of bread, and the adulteress will hunt for her precious life. So, you get the point. These women will bring a man of greatness into the lowest. And let me get, matter of fact, Proverbs 6, and I'm gonna wrap it up. I didn't want to make this too long. Just quick point. Well, I'm gonna get this to Proverbs 6:6-19. It said, "These are the 17 that the Lord hates and cannot tolerate: a proud look, that's whores; a lying tongue, hands that kill innocent people, that's America; a mind that thinks of wicked plans, these whores; feet that hurry off to do evil, this system; a feet witness who tells other one lie after another, this system, Babylon the Great; and someone who stirs up trouble amongst friends." And that's the accuser of our brethren. That's Esau. So let me jump down. 6. A man can hire a prostitute for the price. Uh, well, a man can hire a prostitute for the price of a loaf of bread, but adultery will cost him all he has. So basically, all in all be all, you know, if you will allow a whore and you really truly believe in these whores and you don't have a backbone, hey, these women will destroy you. Chasing pleasure, chasing the good things of life, etc. We get what I'm saying. It can cost you. And one thing about these whores, the whole agenda is to pretty much take everything from you and destroy you, and then leave you to dry out, to die, and then go on and devour another man. But Lord's we was edified with that, Mr. Shalom.